Hello and welcome back to the Invictus Racing League. It's round 6 in 2020. For the first time, we're back on track, and I'm joined, as always, by Sab. How you doing, pal? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and New Year to everybody else here joining us tonight. I'm very good, thank you. It's good to be back. It doesn't feel like a long time since we was here getting ready to talk about these guys attacking the next track, and what a track we've got tonight, eh? They've had the Christmas break, they've had the Christmas puddings and everything else, and now they've got to get straight back into it around this tricky track in Azerbaijan. I certainly don't envy them, and me personally, I'm not looking forward to this week either, so it's going to be a very interesting first race back and first race of the new year.
Yeah, and as you say, it is the first race back, and the first time these guys have probably not even, maybe even been on the game since we were in the USA almost 3.5 weeks ago. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge for some of the drivers because, as you say, tight track, twisty sections. Of course, that now infamous castle section will catch out you with the slightest mistake, and it's probably up there with Monaco's, but the last track you'd want to go to after having an extended break from the game.
I agree, yes, and talking of Monaco, it's probably up there for me as one of the most difficult tracks. I've always found it really tricky around here, especially that middle sector, and yeah, you just don't want to come back to this. You want to be eased into this, if anything, don't you, and get an easier track to get yourself back into the rhythm. It's going to be really tricky for everybody out there tonight. We've had quite a few guys on form going into the break. It'd be very interesting to see the likes of John Palan and Hercules and Warrislander as well, who's been very good in qualifying, not so much in race trim unfortunately, but it'd be very interesting to see how these guys approach the second half of this season and see if anybody can pull away and really make a claim to this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, Jumpalainen currently leading by 8 points in the championship to San Pepito in the Haas, who sits on 41 points. Behind him, he's got a slew of drivers, the likes of Charlie, Foxy Red, and Harry, and VO Hercules. Not too far behind those guys either, but unfortunately, I don't believe Hercules will be joining us this evening. I think he's actually enjoying the slopes and this week, so he'll be back next week. And unfortunately, we've lost TNF Owen from the league. He's decided to make his way over to being the PC Master Race, but in his place and joining the Williams team alongside Harry, we've got Giuseppe04. So welcome back, Giuseppe. Good to have you back in the league, and good to see you back on track. And we are now going to track here in Baku, Azerbaijan, for the qualifying session. 18 minutes of chaos for these guys. We're going to see plenty of thrills and spills this evening. I imagine the pit crews will be pretty busy with perhaps a few extra front wings on these cars. And Sab, I mean, the one thing we haven't really discussed is there's always the potential for weather to come in. And we talk about Baku being a tricky track, and that's in the dry. What are these guys going to do if we possibly see some rain come in?
Oh, I dread to think of it. I would not envy him at all if we'd got rain coming in. It'd probably be more difficult, I'd imagine, if it went from dry to wet or wet to dry. If it was an all wet session, it's easier to manage because you know what you're dealing with. You just don't know when a track's going to dry up or get wet, do you? If it's interchangeable, so we'll soon see as we've got the black screen now. Are we going to get a dry session? The sun is out. It looks like a dry session to me, and I think they'll be all breathing a huge sigh of relief.
They are indeed. It is slightly overcast though, so that track temperature will be slightly down on its optimum. So the times may be slightly slower than what we might see in bright sunshine. You can see straight away, Boy Better Know, otherwise known as Scott, and Infinity, and equally Charlie, going onto the hard tyres in the garage. So they've automatically asked their pit crew to put on the hardest compounded tyre. They'll be going out and setting a hard time, as we can see guys starting to roll out of their pit boxes onto the track. We've got a Ferrari followed by a Mercedes, and then just coming out of the box now is one of the Racing Point cars. So it's going to be 17, just over 17 minutes now. We're going to see some fascinating driving from some of these guys. We'll just check in and we'll go on board here with Jumpalainen, who is out there on the soft tyres, and the Finn has started the season, I say, relatively well. He picked up three podiums, including 2 wins to start the season. Last 2 races been off the boil. Only picked up 8 points out of the last 2 races in Russia and in the USA. So he's going to look at wanting to get back towards that really high tempo running that he was having earlier in this season. But it's really allowed the likes of Sam Pito and Charlie. And Charlie, unfortunately, after not really enjoying the race around the United States, was on a run of 3 consecutive podiums before that. And it's closed up that gap nicely in this second half of the season.
It really has. John Pillane will be desperately hoping that he can start the second half of the season like he started the first half of the season. You wouldn't put it past him, would you, to stick it right up there on pole position tonight? But he's going to have a lot of pressure from everybody else. The one person I'm really interested in watching tonight is, you mentioned him earlier, Boy Better Know. He's not been around for many races this season. It's been an on-off race season for him. He is a former champion in no assist as well, so he's one I think to watch tonight, because can he find that form we know he's got and the form he can deliver? He usually is very good at race starts, but unfortunately this season it's been a bit of a non-burner, hasn't it, so far for him? So hopefully for his sake he can find what we know he can do and really push the likes of John Pillane and his teammate Charlie and Sam as well.
Yeah, and I will, as John Pillane starts his final lap, we had a quick word with Scott in the week just before the race and asked him his thoughts going into tonight, and yeah, like you say, he said that he's had this on-off season. He's had a few issues off track that's not allowed him the same testing and the same practice that he's had in previous seasons, where we've seen him be so superb really across the majority of circuits. He's been right off the pace, but He's been spending the last week or so behind the wheel, getting some practice in, and he's feeling pretty confident for the second half of the season. We know the next 2 races coming up are Bahrain and Italy, 2 tracks that he's famously done very well in the past, and so he's looking forward to that. And I asked him if the fact that he's so far off of the championship lead, whether he's kind of willing to almost sacrifice this season and help his teammate Charlie, who's currently sitting in 3rd. And he said, well, the season's not over yet, and until he's mathematically out of it, he's not willing to give Charlie anything. And although those 2 are current reigning constructor champions, Scott's still a race driver at heart. That's still burning desire to think that he can catch up. So yeah, we'll look to see what he can do later in this session. We've got the guys coming up to finish their first flying laps right now. It looks like we're going to have the Burmeister, I think it is, going to go across the line first. He does a 39.5 on the soft tyres. What do we get from the next guys? There's a 41 flat from Scott, and Jumper Line and straight to the top of the leaderboards. There's a 38.3. Good lap there from Jumper Line, and immediately beaten by a 38.1 for Sam.
Yeah, that's a good starting lap, isn't it, for Sam? A few of the guys on the hard tyres, as you just pointed out, Scott with a 41 flat on the hard tyre. Infinity in the Renaults just crossed the line with a 42.7, and Warrislander 139.1 for him on his first run. So those hard tyres at the moment are proving to be quite a way off, which I'm not really surprised when they're up against those soft tyres. So I can't imagine those guys will be happy to stay on those tyres, because I can't imagine they're going to probably get any closer to these soft running guys. So they're probably looking to just get a feel for the track, I'd say, and see how they get on from there. But it looks like to me Scott might be on another run, maybe can get another lap out of him, but at the moment those hard tyres are just a bit way off.
They are indeed, and you can see the guys on the softs getting themselves into the 38s on this first run, so I think we can expect to see them dip into the 37s for the pole lap. And we've currently got the 2 Haas cars once again right at the top end of the field, split at the moment by Jump Line and in the Racing Point, but Sam and White Fountain, as Fountain crossed the line momentarily or moments ago and did a 38.7, will go on board here with Foxy, who is out on track at the moment. He's coming towards the end of his lap. Can he? The DRS opens now on the number 12 Alfa Romeo. He's going to come across the line on the soft tyre. What does he do? It's a start of a flying lap. That was a 42.6 for the Alfa Romeo driver, so it's going to be another one for him out there. And we usually see Foxy go for the harder tyre, a bit of an installation lap, but it looks like he might be kind of putting himself towards the front end of the grid, not wanting to waste any time, knowing that street circuits, and although it's one that we do see some overtakes on with 2 quite long DRS zones, it's much the same as many street circuits. You really want to get yourself as far up the qualifying positions as possible, don't you?
You do indeed, and that's the thing with street circuits as well. You don't want to really find yourself right in the middle of the pack, because you could easily find yourself tripping over somebody, not just by pure accident, where you might be looking at the car behind or something, and suddenly you're getting caught out. So you got a yellow flag in sector 3. I'm not sure what that is entirely for. I'm just currently riding on board with the other Renault driver, Adrian Lockdock. He's coming across the line now to set his first flying lap on the hard tyre. Kelly beat his teammate. He doesn't beat his teammate, but he's pretty close to his teammate with a 1:42.19 there. So yeah, the Renault's opting for the harder strategy at the moment.
Yeah, we've got yellow in sector 2 now, possibly just a slow driver getting out of the way. You know that could be a real issue around here, especially in qualifying. You don't want to get cars caught up in the wrong positions on track, and yeah, just keeping an eye on the weather. It's still relatively overcast. Doesn't look like there's any rain in the air. I thought I just saw a spot or two, but it may have just been a little bit of a screen tear. But it looks as though we've still got dry running for now, which is why you've got the majority of these guys out there on that soft tyre, trying to get themselves up towards the front end of the pack. And welcome to everyone watching and joining the stream. Hope you're enjoying it. Let us know what you want to see, what you want to talk about. Make sure, if you're not already, that you're subscribed to the channel for more F1 content throughout the week. And equally, if you're enjoying the commentary and enjoying the race tonight, make sure you press that like button. Helps us out massively with the YouTube algorithm. And equally, if you've got anything to say, drop a comment in. Let us know what you're thinking, who you're rooting for. Always good to hear from you guys, as Foxy Red did a 42 on that last lap. So we'll go on board with Harry now. Harry yet to set a flying lap out there on the Williams. He's coming down towards what looks like the end of the second DRS straight, possibly. And yeah, he is. So is he on a flying lap in the Williams this evening? And he's, of course, a driver that finished on the podium in the USA. A post-race penalty knocked him off after blocking in qualifying, so knocked him down to fourth place, and lost him a couple of useful points that would put him second in the championship. So he'll be a man on a mission tonight, looking at getting things right and get himself out towards the podium once again. And someone like Harry, we saw last season, Sab, that he's well and capable enough to picking up race wins.
He certainly is, and I'm a little disappointed that we haven't seen more of that so far this season, but it just shows you, like we've pointed out in previous races, how competitive this season is this season. That someone like Harry, who we were tipping as potential championship contender, is finding it difficult this season with the level of competition out there at the moment. And yeah, qualifying, I think, has just been a sticky point for him, hasn't it, so far? I'm just riding on board with Sam and the Pito at the moment. He's just coming through the castle section now. He's on his second flying run on a set of softs. I don't know if this will be any good, though. He slightly cut the corner just before the castle section, so this could be an invalidated lap. It'll soon see as he's heading round towards the final sector now. But it's been a good start, hasn't it, for the Haas team in general? In first and third so far, Sam and White Fountain, they're looking very racy around here at the moment.
They are indeed currently leading the Constructors' Championship by 2 points as well, with the Williams team of Harry and now Giuseppe in second position on 56, and then behind them on 50 points you've got the racing points of Jumperlinen and Psycho, and then 1 point behind that you've got the Mercedes pair of Boy Benno and FPL Charlie. So plenty, as we see Sam does bail out of that lap there into the box, but Jumperline is going to continue with it. Can the Racing Point get up onto the front row and onto the top? He does. It's a 37.808. Great lap there from the Finnish driver. What can the others do? We've got 7 7 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the session. Plenty of time for these times to fall. And White Fountain out on track at the moment, now sitting directly behind his, I say directly behind, slightly to the side of his teammate on the track. Now he's directly behind, with Warislander going up into third position. Now Waris is one of those almost enigmas here, isn't he? Because he's been so fast, especially in qualifying in this early season, but making slightly rash and reckless decisions in the race. It's cost him some really decent results. Of course, we saw him pick up unnecessary damage in the USA Grand Prix, trying to make a move on 2 cars, and equally in Hungary at the start of the season, he was in the battle for the lead into the last lap of the race and crashed out and ended up finishing down the order. And Waris, he will really be kicking himself, because getting himself up in these promising positions in qualifying just hasn't been able to get it translated over to race pace, has he?
No, he hasn't, and I will get to that second. White Fountain is flying at the moment. He's going to go faster here, but he's gone up to second place. It was a super lap. I was right on board with him. Look how close that is, a 1:37.825. Margins, absolute margins there, and John Polainen can breathe a huge sigh of relief there. White Fountain was on an absolute stunning lap and just not able to knock him off. But yeah, going back to Warislander, I think he's been desperately unlucky, and I think it's just been a case of pushing and trying a little too hard at times. You can see he's got the pace because he's qualified well all season. It's just sometimes it's just not gone quite right for him, and I think if he can just find that rhythm we know he certainly has, especially from last season in F2, then he will be picking up race wins and podiums most definitely in the near future in this league. It's just got to try and forget about what's gone off previously so far this season and not let it get to him, and think about what he can do, what he knows he can do. That astonishing run of wins he did last season. So the pace is there, the ability is there. It's just tweaking it, isn't it, ever so slightly, to make sure he just doesn't trip up over anybody or doesn't slightly outbrake himself here or there. But yeah, I'm not worried in the slightest about Warislander. I'm sure eventually this season he will be definitely on the podium, if not getting a race win. He's certainly got the pace to do that. Yeah,
absolutely. And coming from two grizzly old men like we are, and Warislander, one of the youngest members of our community, he's got so many years to mature, to improve, and obviously to get a lot faster. So it's it's very much in the hands of Warislander that he can go as far as he wants when he's behind the wheel here, and himself in the McLaren alongside Meg Luckby, and Meg just bailing out that fast lap, and it's a shame for him because he was going a little bit fast too. But Meg doing nicely for himself, up in 7th position. A driver that we haven't mentioned up in 5th at the moment is Zyman. Zyman doing very nicely indeed. Hasn't, as always we see Charlie deciding to almost take the straight line move there through the exit of turn 15. So we'll see if this lap counts. He's currently 1.3 seconds up on his time. He's on the medium tyres, so it's still not going to be really comparable compared to the guys on the softs. But what can he do? Can he get himself inside the top 10 on an alternate strategy? He's not going to have time to come round and pit for a new set of tyres, so this is going to be his last attempt. Across the line, it's only 12th position for Charlie on a 39.8, so outside the top 10, that will give him tyre choice come the race, but he's got a lot of cars in front of him. But yeah, getting back to Zyman, he was another driver that we caught up with in the week and was speaking to regarding his time here, how he's felt this season, and equally how he's what he's planning on doing later in this season. He said that Baku's one of his favourites, and he's actually really looking forward to this. He thinks it's a relatively strong track for him, so hopefully it can boost his confidence, and is planning on turning his luck around here in Azerbaijan. And yeah, he's looking forward to teaming. Of course, he's got Hercules as his teammate in the Red Bull. Unfortunately, Hercules not joining us this evening, but knowing that he's got a potential championship-winning teammate alongside him, knows that some decent results for him can pick him up a constructors' win. So, yeah, Zyman currently placed in 5th position, and with Hercules missing, That's if he can, or effectively, if he can stay in that position, if not move forward in the race, that's a decent haul of points, not only for him, but also that Red Bull team.
Yeah, definitely. And Simon, you can normally count on Simon, can't you, in qualifying? He can always pull out a lap from somewhere. Unfortunately, similar to Warrislander in a way, the race results have just got away from him slightly. But if he can rectify that, then I think Simon, no doubt, will be scoring good points for his team. He will be hoping Hercules can get back sooner rather than later so they can have a good push at the potential constructors title. But yeah, Simon's looking good there in 5th position. I'll be honest, I didn't expect to see him there, but so far so good for him. I'm right on board with Boyvet and Minute, and it seems like a very scruffy lap so far. He would not like me saying that, but he's found the car trying to step out on him at least 3 or 4 times now. He's in the 2nd sector now, coming round towards the final sector. Is he up on his time? I'll be able to tell you that shortly. He's just bouncing his way over the curbs there. It's a very ragged qualifying so far. He is up. He's 4.5 tenths up, so this should put him into the top 10 as long as he's not invalidated now. He's going to have that really long run now. He might even benefit from a tow from a car ahead of him, so he could get not only the DRS but the tow as well. It's just slightly ahead, but it might just give him a little advantage. Here he comes now. What is he going to set? He's going to jump up to 6th place. That's not a bad lap there for Scott, to say how scuffy it was. So yeah, I think he'd be pretty pleased with that, because he knows a cleaner lap might have put him even further up there.
Yeah, he was certainly dancing across those curbs, and the back end of that Mercedes was very happy indeed. Just on board here with Foxy Red 2000 in the Alpha, half a second up at the moment on his time. So he's looking at going even quicker as Jumperlinen from the session is leaving it there. He's decided he's not going any faster. We've got yellow in sector 1 and sector 2, probably that slow Williams that we just saw coming into the castle section, but it doesn't look like it's cost Foxy any time at all. He's still on a flyer, but Jumperlinen sitting on the top of the rankings at the moment at 137.808, fractionally ahead of White Fountain. So he's going to, the Belgian's going to have to go again if he's going to try and get himself onto the pole position. What can Foxy do, who's coming up to the final straight now? Of course, it's almost a mile long from the exit of turn 16 all the way down to turn 1. And Giuseppe, we didn't mention, got himself up into 4th position on the 2nd row of the grid. Great lap from the Williams driver. What is Foxy doing? He's going to come across the line. DRS wide open on the Alfa Romeo. Can he get himself up to the top end? 6th position for the Alfa.
You should see the onboard here with Sam. I am amazed he has not been distracted. He's slightly up on his time, and I'm not surprised he's only slightly up on his time. He has had cars literally littered all over the track. He's had a car facing the wrong way. He's had a car parked at the castle section. He's had another 3 cars having to overtake, and he looks like he's giving up on it. He's staying left at the minute. He's going to carry on, in fact. So is he going to improve, Sam? I can't imagine it's going to be by much. No, it's not. By 3,000 a second, and I'd have to say it was very distracted. Warrislander.
Wow, I saw it was going quick. I flicked on at the last second a 37.792, and he's beaten by Fountain. Of course he is. The man that knows that he's always got that lap in his pocket. And we'll just check in with Simon. I think Simon's the last one to set a time. Looks like he's gonna bail out of that one. So Simon down in 9th position, unhappy with that. What have we got? We've got the Renaults coming across the line, and it's Infinity that gets himself up into the top 10, into 9th position. But Fountain, we thought the Warrislander had set a brilliant lap there to knock Jumperlinen off a provisional pole position, and yeah, time after time White Fountain just pulls these absolutely electric pole positions and the electric laps out of his pocket, and he's done it once again.
You're not surprised, are you, now? You become expectant of White Fountain to do this. He like you say, time after time, he's right at the last moment managed to pull off a mega lap, and what a lap that is. Maybe Jumperlinen will slightly regret bailing out of it towards the end and not being able to go for again, but third place is still good. You can still do something from there. But another great lap. We were talking about him earlier. Another great lap there from Warrislander. He put it up in second place. Now for his sake, he'll be hoping to get a clean start here and see how he can get on into the race. But yeah, it's another strong strong qualifying. Sorry, in general for Haas, isn't it? First and fourth place. They'll be definitely hoping to score more points to really rubber stamp their credentials on this Constructors' Championship. But yeah, White Fountain, you're just running out of words to say, aren't you, for these pole position laps he always manages to pull out.
Yeah, he really does just know when to get on it, and seeing that Jumpalainen had retired from the session, he knew that he was going to have no challenge going for that pole position from the Finn, and it was all about nailing every single apex, every single braking point, and he did just that. It's a mammoth 0.227 of a second gap between himself and second position to Warrislander, but there you go, the Belgian gets himself on pole in a 1:37.565. Warrislander in second with Jumpalainen and Sam rounding out the second row with Giuseppe and Foxy in fifth and sixth. Scott and Harry in seventh and eighth with Infinity and Zyman rounding out the top 10. Speed Queen gets herself into the optimum position with Meg, Burmeister, Charlie down in 14th. And then it was Adja Lockdock in 15th and Psycho in the final position on the grid this evening. And yeah, what a lap from Fountain. It's going to be a dry race, we've just heard from the guys in the weather box. So these guys not having to worry about that rain shower that we were talking about, which is a bit of a disappointment. I'm sure they'll be disagreeing with me wholeheartedly. But yeah, it would be nice to see what these guys can do when they're on top game under the wet conditions around here. That's probably the only cursing the likes of us when we go racing over the rest of the week. And of course, guys, it's not the only race here at Invictus this week. Tomorrow night, the Realistic Performance League are back once again, and they will be back for their 6th round of the season here in Baku. And then, of course, on Wednesday, you've got 2 leagues, equal performance. You've got IRL F2 and IRL F3, and you can catch Realistic Performance with Tim and Malc in the commentary box, and F2 on Wednesday with Dan and Warrislander, and F3, of course, with Tim and Malc once again on Wednesdays. So yeah, plenty of racing here, so make sure, if you're not already, click that subscribe button and ding the bell to be notified every time we go live with a new video, with a new race. And these guys here are waiting for that red light to be extinguished to set them out on the formation lap, and they are off. And White Fountain will be taking away, thinking about what he's going to do off the line. It's only a short run off the line. It's only 330 metres down to turn 1, so not too much room for the guys behind to bunch up and get a move made into turn 1, but it's actually turn 2 on the first lap that you've got to watch out for. The cars on the left-hand side coming into that inside line, getting moves on. We've seen moves in F1, in F2, down into turn 2. So that's the one he's got to be watching out for. Of course, DRS is, well, the first DRS zone is the straight run right now on the entry to turn 3. And of course, DRS then activates at the end of the lap on the exit of turn 20 all the way down to turn 1. Full throttle here is around 56% of the lap. And these guys will be doing around about 78 gear changes over the lap, and that makes just under 2,000 for this 50% race distance tonight. 26 laps of this Baku city circuit, 6 kilometers long, 3.7 miles. It's the second longest on the F1 calendar. It's a track that these guys have really got to pay attention to. Fountain were on board, sitting right on the front wing of the Haas car, and that was the section that we've got to watch out for. Watch out for these front end plates and these wings. That's what's going to cost you time. If you lose an end plate, you're going to start losing downforce, which means going into the faster sections of the lap, which is much into this third sector here. It will cost you a lot of time. It will cost you a lot of downforce, into especially this corner here that Fountain is just going around now at turn 15. That will really hurt you. And Sab We've got 16 cars that are going to be, well, I say thundering down towards turn 1 and just about making their way to turn 1, but then thundering down towards turn 3. We've got a lot of chances for some really fantastic overtakes in action this evening.
We have, and I just want to quickly point out, we had a safety car, didn't we, at the US Grand Prix last time, and you wouldn't be surprised to have one here tonight. It's more likely to have one here tonight, just given the nature of this track, so anything is possible tonight. And just to point out quickly, outside the top 10, as we've got people leaving the session, we might have an issue there. It looks like we've got an issue there. There's a couple of people, but outside the top 10, everybody was on the mediums apart from Burmeister in the Ferrari starting in 13th. He was going to start on the softs, so nobody fancying those hard tyres.
No, not even. We've got a couple of guys leaving, which usually indicates that unfortunately we're going to have a lobby restart. So don't worry, guys. We're not going to lose these guys from the race. We're going to have a lobby restart. So we'll get that set up as soon as possible. So as soon as I get the invite from the race admin, he will get us in and we'll get the lobby set up. So in the meantime, because obviously this race will not be going on, don't worry about what's going to be going on screen very, very shortly. I'm sure you'll see a couple of cars moving forward, but I can imagine that we will see a lobby restart, hopefully, as we see the pack leaving the field now. But will we see a fight into turn 1? We have. So we've got the race going on for now, but I remain sceptical that White Fountain holding on to first position currently. So we'll find out to see what happens with the amount of guys that have left. And there you go, White Fountain leading down towards turn 3 now. He left Warrislander behind. Warrislander and Jumper Line is swapping. But yeah, we have got an invite for a new session now. So it looks like it's a little bit of a practice start for these guys here. Just getting the vocal cords warmed up with the commentary, and they're just trying to get a little bit of a jump start, get a feeler for what the first lap around here feels like. And but whilst we have got this, we'll be moving to a new session. And Sab, we look back, and of course it's been a new year, it's been a new start for us. And at the end of 2019, we held the IRL in the Invictus Awards, and we had some decent results here at the F1 League. They, of course, were announced as the most exciting league of the year. And, of course, you had the race of the year, Invictus, the IRL F1 League, Great Britain in Silverstone earlier this season. So these guys have really, really done well for themselves.
They have indeed, and I don't want to sound biased, but commentating on this league is a privilege, and I think this is by far the league to watch. I don't want to put down the rest of our fantastic leagues. Don't take that the wrong way, but this league has just been absolutely superb to be part of ever since I joined last year. And there's never really been a race where you think, oh, heck, could have been better. It's always action packed. So I'm not surprised in the slightest that this league was voted the most so many great races, so many to mention. We could be sitting here tonight doing his own podcast just about this league, couldn't we? That's how good these guys are, and it's a credit to them. It really is, to every single one of them, because, yeah, we have some incidents here and there, but you get incidents in any racing, don't you? Whether in real life or in esports like we do here, but you never see stupidity, do you, or anything like that. You just see good racing, and yeah, they've thoroughly deserved to have everybody look at them and realise what a good league we do have here. So hopefully tonight, when this league does get up and running, that and this race should be a good one. Like I say, the outside the top 10, it was just Burmeister on those soft tyres, so it'd be fascinating to see what he could do on a brand spanking set of soft tyres. But yeah, what a race we've got to look forward to here tonight.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. And as you see, there was just a little bit of a taster with the guys leaving the lane and just finding out where those braking points are on the first lap on slightly colder tyres. And yeah, some of the other awards that we saw, some of the guys in IRL F1 win on the awards from 2019. Team of the Year went to Charlie and Scott in the Mercedes. picked up a Constructors' Championship last season. We've seen them in qualifying as a superb team, working together, giving each other a tow, sharing strategies. They've been brilliant together. Scott, of course, was the Constructors' Champion the season previous with teammate Jolfie 520. So, Scott, a two-time Constructors' Champion in the Mercedes. Charlie joins the ranks. He also picked up the Rookie of the Year award for coming in last season in the now defunct No Assists League, and he of course picked up the championship there. So Charlie picking up multiple awards in the end of the season, so he was pretty happy with that one. And well, I say very nicely indeed, yourself and I were given the Commentary Team of the Year award, which was, of course, a real nice surprise and really nice from the community to have voted us for that.
Yeah, I couldn't be more thankful, to be honest. I remember the first time I joined you in a commentary. I think it was Germany, pre-season race in Germany, and I remember being really nervous, I won't lie, and thinking, oh, I've messed up and I didn't know what to say and everything. But it's been. I just want to thank everybody involved in the league for the positive comments towards me and input, and even the not so positive ones, the ones that help, and to grow with you on this channel, in this league, has been absolutely fantastic. So to the end of the year, to be recognised as the best, I cannot be more thankful. It's an honour to be part of this, and hopefully going into this brand new year, we can maintain what we're doing and get even better and stronger and bigger, and really give these guys a great show. But at the end of the day, we can only do so much, can't we? It's down to these guys on the track. If they give us a good race, we can really get stuck into it. And I have to say, a lot of the credit does go to those as well on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, we can't do it without these guys. So it's a credit to them for giving us some just brilliant entertainment every Monday night. But of course, you will be able to find us here every Monday until mid-February, when we come to the end of this current season. But then we'll be back for one final season before the end of the game, and hopefully at the end of the final season, we might have an evening of entertainment afterwards. I will keep it at that, because it's currently under development. But look out for some news out of social media over the coming weeks, and there might be some fun entertainment for the drivers, for the community, at the end of this F1 2019 game before we head towards F1 2020. And I mean, Sab, we'll go back to the race tonight. We'll go back to qualifying, because the grid will be being set up as a custom grid. We'll be seeing the exact same qualifying positions that we saw in qualifying. So no need to worry, guys. We're not going to have to sit through another qualifying session. We will go to grid as you saw previous. But you had the likes of White Fountain, Sam, once again doing nicely, getting up there in that Haas team. But you've still got some guys that can really push up towards the front end of the grid. We saw Warrislander, once again, another brilliant qualifying result to get himself up onto the second, in the qualifying session. And then equally, you've got Jumperlinen, who, if he's going to make it a third win of the season, has got to get some moves done. And White Fountain and Warris, we've already seen this season, aren't easy guys to get past. So, I mean, firstly, who had the best qualifying session, and then secondly, what does Jumperlinen do? What does perhaps the likes of Charlie and Scott, that have got to come from further back in the pack, what have they got to do to get themselves up in the conversation for the race win tonight?
Well, the easy and short answer to that final part is to just try and stay out of trouble and keep it clean for the first few laps, because, like I said earlier, it's very easy, especially around these street-style circuits, to trip over one another when you're so grouped together early on, and you pick up any wing damage, like you were mentioning earlier, and suddenly you are losing heap loads of time, and you could find yourself well out of contention for strong points. So my main thing would say is try and keep it clean as much as possible, because it can really bite you, this circuit, if you end up with damage. I'd say, going on to the first part, I'd say White Fountain's clearly, he's got the best advantage. John Purline, I think he'd be kicking himself slightly, because I think he probably had more time in himself. He'd probably be able to answer that for me. But I'm sure John Purline, and I don't want to jinx him here, but I'm sure John Polainen will have some sort of plan in place, even though starting P3 is not so bad, is it? I'm sure he'll have some sort of plan in place to try and attack Warris and White Fountain early on, but you don't want to try and jump the gun too early, do you, and end up causing your own misfortunes, and that could end up biting him as well. So it's going to be very fascinating these first few laps, especially for, like you pointed out, the likes of Boy Better Know and Charlie, who are starting a bit further back, and they'll be desperate to try and get forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, an addition to the grid, as that we've seen, is we've got Klaskafar DK, who is in fact a new member who's managed to join us. He wasn't able to get in for the original qualifying session, but he is able to get in for this one. So good evening, Klas. Welcome to IRL F1. Hope you enjoy the race tonight, and equally hope to see you fighting your way through the pack from what will be last on the grid. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be fascinating to see what some of these guys can do fighting through that pack, and it's finding out where we saw, of course, Scott earlier in the qualifying session really riding those curbs, and the back end of that Mercedes getting super twitchy, and yeah, obviously hitting the board underneath the car and slightly losing downforce. But it's definitely some of these corners. It's where you make up time. You'll see how hard these guys are pushing, especially down towards turn 15, how hard they hit those curbs on the left hand side, because get it wrong and get airborne and you'll be finding yourself a one-way ticket to the outside wall in the exit of turn 15. Get it right and you can shave off 2 or 3 tenths of a second of your lap time. So these guys have really got to be on it. But equally, we've mentioned it, you've mentioned it, I've mentioned it, any sort of wing damage around here is just it's a very aero critical circuit around here, and you'd be hoping that we won't see too many retirements, but it's one of those races where you can you'd think that a safety car was more of a chance than not.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it earlier. It was a very surprising safety car, wasn't it, last time out? You'd expect it more so here, especially how tight it is around. And if you get a car facing the wrong way or buried into the wall, like you just said, you could easily force a safety car out, and that could then mix up strategies altogether, and it get the teams really with their thinking caps on, as we now see the session restarting. We're about to get underway again, so hopefully this time no issues from anybody on track, as we now do see the guys ready to start their formation lap once again, and off they go. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a safety car tonight, but again, this game's, you never know what it brings, do you, when it comes to safety cars? It's hard to judge, so all I know is, and all I wish is, that we get a clean getaway and we don't see any messiness at the start, and we just get down to real good racing and see what these guys can do around this tricky street circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, you don't want any first lap mishaps. It's 26 long laps around this circuit, 6 kilometers long. Plenty of time will be spent later in the race concentrating on keeping that car on the black stuff. You do not want to be picking up any silly damage early in the race for incidents where you possibly could have held back and made up the position later in the lap. Of course, that long DRS straight at the end of the lap from the exit of turn 20, or really halfway between turn 19 and turn 20, all the way down to turn 1. That's your best opportunity to get in past. Don't try and force it early on, because more of a chance than not you might end up having a little bit of a collision with the guy in front, and not only will you be disagreeing after the race, I'm sure during the race you'll be equally as frustrated with the fact that that car won't be doing exactly what you want it to be doing. So it's a real fascinating thing to find what these guys do when it comes to how they build up to the race, how they set up, and yeah, White Fountain, he's got on with it. He's not willing to take this formation that slowly. He's got a little bit of a gap between himself, so it gives him the opportunity of just warming those brakes, putting the accelerator on, and then hammering down on those brakes just to get some extra temperature into those brakes, and you'll see him glowing orange into the braking points, to the heavier braking points later on the lap. But he'll be leading us around, coming up to the grid slot. We've got 26 laps ahead of us, Sab. White Fountain leads from Warislander, Jumperline, Sam, Giuseppe, Foxy Red, Boy Better Know Harry, Infinity and Zyman round out your top 10. Speed Queen, first one on the choice of tyre, was in 11th position. Meg Burmeister, Charlie, Agilok Doc, Psycho, and now Klaskafar DK. We're in store for a mega race here in Azerbaijan, the first one of 2020. And well, we've still got guys coming down the start-finish line. It feels like such a long way. Who's your money on tonight, Sab?
I'd like to say anybody in the top 3. I don't want to say anybody specific because you know what my track record's like. But I'm just going to go with any of the top 3 I think would deserve it tonight.
It's yeah, I mean that's
sitting on the fence.
Sitting on the fence, if I ever did it. So, but here we go. The lights are ready. We've got a green light indicating it's time to go. Setting us off for round 6, the IRL F1 League. We got 4, 5 red lights. Pause out, and we're off and underway here in round 6. It looks like it's a good getaway there for Warislander, but it is White Fountain leads away. Oh, we've got contact between the Williams and the Racing Point behind, but White Fountain has maintained the lead. Warislander now under threat from Sam behind. Will everyone stay out of that wall on the outside line? Looks like we've got a clean getaway for the most part. White Fountain, great start, half a second up already behind. We've got the jumper line, and he is having a look at the back of Sam, not quite close enough. And then we had a good move there from Giuseppe, who was overtaken by Harry and Foxy Red. So Giuseppe dropping back off the line. Good start from White Fountain.
It was a good start for White Fountain, and it was a poor start for Jumperline, and Sam got the jump on him. Even before turn 1, Sam was already ahead, so a poor start for him, so he'll be wanting to get back ahead of that Haas. But at the moment, as they now, for the first time tonight, head into the castle section, he knows, doesn't need to panic too early straight away, does he? He knows, so we've got a yellow flag in sector 2, and Giuseppe is out. He's crashed in the castle section. He's the first victim of the castle section, unfortunately. His first race back with us, and he's done a Charles Leclerc there. He's just buried it into that wall, and unfortunately that is him out of the session straight away.
And what has it done? It's a first lap safety car. It's we talked about it, we said it was a possibility, and it's taken us around about 35 seconds to get one. That's probably the earliest safety car we've had here at Invictus for a long time. But yeah, unfortunately for Giuseppe, it's a very early exit to the race, and an unfortunate return to Invictus for him in the Williams. He dropped back off the start of the race, got passed by Foxy Red and by his teammate Harry, and unfortunately, as you say, buries it in the wall on the entry at turn 8 and turn 9. So not a great start to the return for Giuseppe, but it was a great start to White Fountain, who I'm sure, after having a good start, will be slightly disappointed that he's going to lose that, although it wasn't too much an advantage. But I'm sure he felt that he could have started to stretch those legs away a little bit. So we've got cars coming into the pit lane already. We've got Scott and Meg Lugby, and now dropping down to 15th, 16th. I would imagine, I'm sure Sab be checking for us. They are for some new front wings.
It wouldn't give me the angle for the front wing. That's why I was looking back at the car. But Meg Luppy had a stop-go penalty because his car was stationary for such a long time. I'm not sure exactly what caused that, but his car was stationary for much longer. But I tried to get the on board, and I could not see the camera angles. Unfortunately, wouldn't give me the front end view. It only giving me the driver view. But Scott didn't look like he was going in for a new front wing. It just looked like a tyre change, which was ultimately put him on the hard tyres now. So whether he's just not liking those soft tyres, he's gone straight into the hards now. So you'd imagine he'll be going to the end of the race on them, and Meg has come out on a set of mediums. So I can't imagine Meg doing 24 laps on a set of medium tyres. So imagine Meg to probably pit again. But I just wanted to point out as well, it's such a good start for Psycho. He's currently in 11th place. He's 5 positions up from where he started. So a good start there for John Polanyi's teammate in the racing point there. And he'll be looking at the likes of Burmeister, who's on a set of those brand spanking soft tyres. If he can stay with that car for a while and try and run deep, he can find himself sitting pretty in some points. So a good start there for Psycho.
Yeah, really good start, as you mentioned, for the German driver, sitting in 11th position, only 1 point off the top 10 at the moment. Of course, plenty more running left to go in this race. He only sits on that solitary point in the championship so far with that 10th place finish in Russia. So he'll be looking at picking up some more points in this second part of the season after the Christmas break. Safety car will be out for another lap, so we'll be sitting on board currently with White Fountain, watching the Belgian driver weave side to side, try and keep temperature in those soft compounder tyres, and thinking about how he's going to get away from the pack, because it's one of those tracks where really the safety car doesn't help the guy in the lead at all, because he's really got to stay off of the throttle until the last possible moment. We've seen, of course, if you watch the F2 races last season, the safety car was, well, it was chaos. It was great fun, but it was absolute chaos, because the drivers wanted to hold off from putting the throttle down until they got to the line, because if you put it down too early, you've given, essentially, White Fountain will give 16 or 15 cars a tow down towards turn 1. So he's going to really think about when he's going to let the throttle pedal down and get on with the race, because otherwise I think Warrislander, Sam and even Jumper Liner will be thinking, if he goes early, I've got him.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite reminiscent, isn't it, of Russia down to turn 2, how you can get a good tow off the start when you're starting from the lead guy, and suddenly the lead guy can find himself in 3rd and 4th. So in a way, it's quite reminiscent of that. So yeah, White Fountain's going to have to play it clever here, isn't he? He's still behind that safety car now. They're leading around into the castle section once again. Will the safety car be out another lap, or will it be coming in this lap? We'll find out shortly. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating how White Fountain does deal with that, because Warrisland will be chomping at the bit to try and get a move done. Hopefully doesn't show too much eagerness, and he's got to remember as well, he's got a very fast Sam behind him, so he's got an interesting game to play as well, Warrislander, because not only is he going to have to try and attack White Fountain, but he's got to try and keep Sam behind him as well, it's not easy to keep him behind, is it? So it's going to be fascinating how this plays out at the start as the race. There you go, safety car in this lap. So here we go. How is White Fountain going to play this out?
Yeah, when does he put the hammer down? When does he release it? He's going to, of course, let the safety car disappear up the road and get out of the way to make sure that it's not he's not going to have to slow down after getting on the throttle. But watch the cars behind almost put their noses in the gearbox of the Haas in front. White Fountain's going to have to think about this very, very carefully. When does he go? The field are going to just bunch up. We've seen incidents happen before in the past with cars getting too close on a start-finish line. He's still thinking about it. He's going to want to catch Warrislander off. Watch Warrislander. Is he going to weave those tyres? Because if he starts, that's when White Fountain's going to want to go. It looks like Warrislander he's going to have his eyes fixed upon the rear end of the Haas, and off he goes. Fountain, he's dropped the hammer down. He's done it relatively late on. It's not really going to give the option for Warrislander to attack, because in fact Warrislander, he's going to have Sam all over the back of him, but it's a good restart there for White Fountain, getting away back off the line. He's managed to hold on to the lead. Warrislander, Sam maintaining the 2nd and 3rd position. I don't believe we've seen any stops just yet, so it's a good restart there for Fountain.
He played that well, didn't he, there? He left it at the very last moments as he possibly could, and now his focus is to build that gap up, what he got early on, and at the moment he's working on it. It's just under a second at the moment because Warrislander is under severe pressure at the moment from Sam. Jumpline has dropped slightly back from Sam, but not too far away at the moment. So yeah, like you say, a good clean start from everybody there.
Charlie moving up back ahead of Psycho. Once again, those two have traded positions. We've got a yellow in sector 2.
Pile up. Oh, sorry, there's a big pile of Psycho and Charlie. I think Psycho tried to get a move back on Charlie, and he's ended up spinning it, and it's caused 2 or 3 cars to slam the brakes on to make sure they don't hit him. I think a few of them did, and now all that good work Psycho did. The curse of me once again comes out, and unfortunately Psycho has found himself now at the back with damaged front wing, and he's going to have to fortunately come into the pit lane. And yeah, that was dreadfully unfortunate. He looked like he was trying to get the move back on Charlie, and unfortunately it just didn't work, and caught the rear end and spun that racing point around.
Overtake alert here for second position. Sam Pepito sitting behind the Warrislander. He's in the tow. We don't have DRS just yet, but he's going to get a nice slipstream down towards turn 1. Who's got the better setup? It looks as though the Warrislander's just about going to be able to hold off the attack from the Spaniard behind us. Oh, he's got Jumpalani going majorly wide. How did he make that corner there? Just about manages to stop himself from collecting the wall in the entry to turn 1. He's dropped all the way down to 7th position. Infinity, he's had a great start up to 6th. Harry equally up into 5th position as well. But yeah, Sam unable to get past Warris. Warris looking like he might have a slightly slipperier setup compared to Sam behind. He just couldn't quite make any inroads in him with that tow down the main straight. White Fountain was somewhat up the road, but has lost a couple of tenths this lap, and Warrislander now back within 6 tenths of the leader. We've got a gap of 3 tenths behind Simon and Jumpalina now, and just half a second between the pair back there and the 2 Scandinavian drivers. And it's going to be, we're going to see, it's going to be close between Sam and Warrislander once again later in this lap. But Foxy Red now starting to get involved in this battle. He's now only under 4 tenths of a second behind Sam. So Sam going from the hunter to the hunted by the looks of it, because Foxy Red, who's also bringing Harry along with him, is going to make it almost a 5-car battle for this lead. But we're going to have once again a huge train as Warrislander goes deep there on the exit of turn 16. That's going to cost him time, which is going to allow Sam the opportunity of getting in the tow once again. But equally, look at that Alfa Romeo who's going to get a double tow off the pair. What do we see? Do we see an overtake here? It looks like Sam is going to line himself quite nicely. He peels to the left-hand side, up the inside of the Warrislander. He's going to get the move done. We've got a Haas 1-2 on lap 6 of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
They'll be very happy with that on the Haas pit wall, won't they? As now DRS is enabled. I'm just looking further down the field at the moment, and Simon is now putting the pressure on Jumpalina, and Jumpalina down in 7th place now. He's lost 4 places. It looks like he's struggling somewhat. He's behind Infinity at the moment. Will have DRS on Infinity, but Simon at the moment is just, you're letting Jumpalina know he's there. He's filling his mirrors up, and Jumpalina will know that if Simon does get opportunity to get a move done, he certainly will give it a go. But there is a queue of cars ahead of Infinity. Infinity now is just losing time behind Harry, and that's allowing Jumpalina and Simon and just about Speed Queen to tag onto the back of 6th place.
Yeah, we'll go on board with Infinity and Jumpalina very, very shortly. Just want to make sure nothing happens with this battle between the top 5, who are all within a second or around about 2 seconds of each other at the moment. So it's close for the top 5, and then behind, like you say, Infinity holding up a little bit of a train of cars. We've got Jumpalina having a look at Infinity, but there's not really the overtaking options here as they head back down towards the final few corners down the hill into the 3rd sector. Infinity might be finding himself looking at the back of that racing point very shortly if he's not careful, because Jumpalina, after losing the braking point a few laps ago, is now, there we go, he's shaped up. DRS will be enabled this lap for Jumpalina, and through he goes. Now, what do we see from Simon? Simon's going to get a tow off the both of them. Is he going to get a decent tow on Infinity down into turn 1? Simon is going to look at it. He's going to just about get it slowed down. Those disc brakes absolutely glowing burning orange, and in Simon using that DRS to great effect, and Infinity goes from fourth, down to 6th in one straight.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Infinity, but because he didn't have the DRS, it was just shooting fish in a barrel in the end, wasn't it? It was easy pickings for the likes of Simon and Jumperline now up back into 4th place now. So Jumperline will be hoping, as we've lost White Fountain. Why is White Fountain in 12th place? Oh, he's pitted. Sorry, my bad. He must have pitted. He's on the hard tyres. So I got all confused then for a second because I was looking further down and seeing White Fountain in 12th. I didn't know what was going off. But yes, Jumperline up in 4th place now. Be hoping to try and catch up to the back of the Williams car, which is Harry B. He's just under a second behind Foxy Red.
Yeah, he definitely did that stealthily, because I completely missed White Fountain pitting from the lead as well. So Fountain back out in 12th position, 2.7 seconds behind Scott, 1 second ahead of Warrislander. So him and Warrislander pitting from the we've got a yellow in sector 2 now. Is anyone losing time? It doesn't look like we've seen any positions just yet, but it's been cleared quickly. So now we've got Jumperline, he's now going to be having to defend from the charging Simon. Behind Simon in Red Bull, like we said in qualifying, he enjoys this circuit. It's one of his stronger ones. He's doing nicely indeed, in 5th position at the moment, and he's got DRS open. Is he going to... he tries to stay with Jumperline and into the pit lane. We've got a train of cars coming into the pits, and it's allowed Simon. He's decided to stay out for one more lap, which will be fascinating because, of course, his teammate's not racing tonight, so he didn't have to worry about double stacking in the pit lane. So Simon, obviously comfortable on those tyres. He stays out. Now, what do we get from the chasing pack? They're all coming out of the pit lane now. They're all seemingly coming out behind Fountain, behind Warrislander. Sam just coming out behind Warrislander there, so he's going to have to get past the Dutchman once again. He's forward just who came out around 0.2 of a second behind the McLaren, as Andrew picks up 5 seconds, speeding in the pit lane. Very easy to do here. Of course, you go from full throttle all the way down to absolutely nothing in a heartbeat. But Sam will be pretty disappointed with that. That undercut for Warrislander is just about going back up into the net 2nd place in the race.
Meanwhile, just further back, Jumperline has managed to jump Harry down that 2nd DRS straight. Harry just really didn't have any standings at all there. Jumperline got the toe and easily made the move count, and now Jumperline he's 2.9 seconds behind Sam, so he'll be focusing on trying to catch up with Sam, but he'll know that if Harry can stay within DRS range of that racing point, he'll definitely have a go back at Jumperline. So it's not quite over yet for 9th place, but at the moment Jumperline just got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he has indeed, with Harry falling off slightly towards the second half of this lap. He was well within reach of Jumperline, and he is just inside DRS. If he can hold on to him for the next few corners, it looks like he is, but probably won't be able to catch up. Speed Queen takes the lead of the race after Simon pits from the lead. Where does the Swede come back out? Can he get himself back out in a decent position? Harry now, he's just going to be too far away from Jumperline to make a move. Simon comes out not too far behind Sam, so a decent stint there for the Swede. What's happened behind Sab?
Simon nearly drove it into the wall at turn 2. I don't know how he did drive it into the wall, and that's allowed Jumperline an easy move on him, and Jumperline does get moved up. Simon was comfortable out, but I just don't know if he just got distracted or his brakes were cold or what, but I don't know how he didn't bury it into the wall there, and he had to slam the anchors on and just about get out of the wall, but in the end it's cost him a place, and it's dropped him down to 8th now, and that's allowed Harry to get up to the back of him. So yeah, unfortunate for Simon there, because he came out into a good position, and within a space of 10 yards or so, he'd thrown it away. That's really bad luck there for Simon.
Yeah, he'd actually done the overcut on Jumperline, who had stopped a lap earlier, and like you say, just maybe overcooked it, was looking in his mirrors and missed that braking point, just about misses the wall, and he's back behind Jumperline, so he's going to have to overtake the Finn all over again. Just on board with Sam once again, who's eyeing up the Warrislander as head towards the latter parts of the lap. and he's well within reach of the McLaren driver, and this seems like it might be pretty much elementary that we'll see the Spaniard going back up into the second place in the net race. Oh, as you can see, Warrislander just pinching him over, trying to make that one defensive move, and they're side by side. You can see Warrislander's got a very strong straight line setup because he was able to go side by side as soon as Sam pulled out from the slipstream, but Sam does get his elbows out into turn one, gets himself back up into the effective second place, and he can now chase down his teammate White Fountain, who's currently in fourth on track, but a net race lead.
Yeah, it's been. I'll be honest with you. I'm quite surprised in a way as we see the new guy, Klaskafar. He's back in the pit lane again. He only just pitted the previous lap, and he's had to come in for a front wing change. So not the greatest of starts for him, but he's coming back out. He should come back out ahead of Adri Lotdock, and I think he will be, yes, so he's down in 50. But yeah, I'm more surprised, and this is nothing against the guys on track. I'm more surprised we haven't had as many instances on track so far as we have a yellow flag in sector one. There you go. They're just teasing me. I commentators curse, and a yellow flag flags up in sector one, and there you go, there's another one flagged up. But yeah, it just shows a testament to these guys. We've only had that one big instance so far with Giuseppe. So far, great racing out there, and just a few little tiny mistakes, but superb race out there. Speed Queen still out there, isn't she? She's still out there on those medium tyres. She's coming now down the start finisher. Is she going to be coming in to the pit lane? Yes, she is. So she is coming into the pits now for a brand new set as Charlie carries on those medium tyres. So Speed Queen 11 laps on those medium tyres. You'd imagine she'll be chucking on a set of hard tyres as now FPL Charlie takes the lead of the race for the first time out, with his teammate Boy Better Know not far behind, 4 seconds behind in second.
And Harry moving up past Simon down the straight there in towards turn one, gets the move done. Simon not even fighting him. It's one of those straights here that if someone's got the line into turn one, there's not really much you can do about it, so he's going to have to get back into the toe of the Williams. We've got yellow in sector two, and it's Adri that's unfortunately looks like that he's made a visit to the concrete walls, and we've got a yellow flag at the moment. Will it manifest into a safety car? It looks as though we're going to stay just under yellows at the moment, so no overtaking throughout the second sector, which I mean, you'd be a brave man to do that. And has he become the second driver this evening to fall foul of the castle sector? We will find out momentarily. It is a virtual safety car that has been just been put out on track. So we've gone from a safety car on lap 1, 10 laps later, and we've got the virtual safety car which will neutralise the race. And I tell you what, we'll find out where he is on track, because this might work absolutely perfectly for Charlie. Depending on how long this stays out for, he is up the road by 6 seconds. Everyone else is, oh dear, the virtual safety car just about comes in at the wrong opportunity. Around 20 seconds later, and that would have put Charlie right within a chance of coming back out without any competition around him. But is he gonna stay out? He does stay out for another lap. So I probably would have thought that if that VSC had stayed out, that he probably would have come in and utilised the extra benefit of the everyone else driving around much slower. But he's staying out there. Medium tyres, 11 laps so far, so he's doing well.
Yeah, he's looking after him well. I can imagine he will be dropping quite a way down once he comes in. As we just look further back, White Fountain now less than half a second behind his teammate. And this is interesting, isn't it? The battle between the Haas drivers. Who is going to come out on top at the end of tonight? Hopefully they don't trip up over each other, because that's the last thing you want to do, isn't it? You don't want to be driving into your teammate. Sam at the moment is just over a second. It's just under a second now behind Boy Better Know Scott. So will Scott do his teammate any favours and try and hold up this chasing pack, and at least give Charlie a chance to make up a few positions when he does eventually come in? Because remember, Boy Better Know has already been in the pits, hasn't he? So he came in on those hard tyres. So at the moment, Scott is actually in position here, even though he came in really early on those hard tyres. He's actually in position to stay here, so he's got no reason to come in just yet. But Yeah, the only thing I can think of is, does Scott help his team out here? But Sam, you would imagine on those much newer hard tyres, would eventually make this quite easy work for him, as he's now coming round to get the DRS and hopefully, for his sake, get past that Mercedes.
Well, Sam that's actually overtaken his teammate that we didn't even notice. So he was, of course, behind White Fountain after the pit stops, and he's managed to get past his teammate. So he's now sitting behind Scott. Scott essentially is not got a chance of holding back the Spaniard. The Spaniard's going to go to the outside line. Will we see Scott defend hard into turn one? We do. In front, he's going to run him out. There's a slight wheel kiss between the two, but Scott is not giving up that position. And we, like we said in qualifying, we had that conversation with Scott, and he said, you know what, I'm still in the championship until I'm mathematically out of it. I'm not giving up any positions. Sam's going to have to go for it once again with DRS. Does he get it done this time? He does. Scott's still trying to stick with the Spanish driver, but this time he's having to relinquish what is currently the lead of the race. And now it's White Fountain that's going to have to close up to the rear end of the Mercedes. And the problem is classed as the fastest lap so far, 42.3. But the problem for Fountain now is that, unfortunately, he's on much cleaner or 5 lap ish cleaner tyres. He's going to get stuck behind Scott, and in a sector and a half, really, where there's no overtaking options. He's going to have to wait until that final straight down towards turn one to get a move done, and that's going to give Sam a decent head start of driving up the road.
It is, and what Scott's done really well is he's managed to stay within DRS of Sam, so this isn't going to be an easy move for White Fountain if he's going to get it done on this lap, because Scott's going to be able to defend with added DRS here. So going up this long run now towards the start-finish straight, it's going to be even harder for White Fountain. He's 7/10 back from Scott at the minute. Scott is just over half a second behind Sam, so at the moment Scott is doing pretty well, to be fair. He's got the toe now and the DRS on Sam. Sam weaving about trying to break that toe. Now Scott's thinking, I'm going to have a go back at you. He's going to try around the outside, and Sam stays on the inside. Is this touched? Oh my god! Sam and Scott have touched, and that's allowed White Fountain to go through, and that is desperately unlucky there. And it's hard to say whose fault that was. Scott was around the outside. Did Sam move on him? I'm not sure. I'd have to see both onboards, but that has cost both of them massively, and unfortunately now Scott is trying his hardest to keep it going, but the badly damaged front wing is going to hamper him and fall him all the way down the order, and Sam now down in ninth with equally amounts of damaged front wing. That is really unfortunate and a bit messy.
Yeah, it was. It looks as though that Sam just wasn't expecting Scott to try and stick with the move, and he, of course, we would have tried to run the Mercedes out wide. He just didn't seem to know that there was any space for him, and as soon as Scott clipped that green Armco barrier on the exit of turn one, it's almost slightly out from the outline of the track. It just clipped the rear tyre of Scott, and that put him into the Haas and effectively ruins both their races. And that is Sam, who was looking as though we've got a yellow in sector 2.
Speed Queen's lost it. Sorry, Speed Queen has lost it out of the castle section, and that long run Speed Queen, very, very unlike Speed Queen, she has completely lost it. I was riding on board with Scott, and Speed Queen was facing the wrong way. I just don't know what on earth happened to her, but she's managed to get going again. I don't know if she's got any damage, but that's unfortunately dropped her down to 12th place, and that really is unlike her. It's very, very rare you see mistakes from Speed Queen. It doesn't look like she's got any damage. It'd be interesting to see shortly if she does come into the pits, but yeah, that's desperately unlucky there for the Toro Rosso driver.
Yeah, it is indeed. Like you say, it's very rare to see those sort of mistakes from her. And just checking on board with Harry's, it went through turn one there. There's debris strewn all across the track at turn one. So surprisingly, we didn't see another VSC for clearing up that front wing damage. That should be causing punctures if all were to be normal. And but it looks as though we're going to get away with it. Harry now hounding the back of Zyman, who's managed to get himself up into fourth position. Sam and Scott come in, of course, both of them requiring new front wings, and That's another stop for Scott, and well, effectively ends both their races. They're way down the order now, and with only 11.5 laps left to go, it would take an absolutely monumental effort, and most likely both would require a second safety car if they were to get back in the race. But at the moment, it's White Fountain leading now from Jumper Linen, who finds himself back up in second position, and all over White Fountain. He's now down to just over half a second behind the Belgian. So Jumper Linen, after looking as though the race was starting to get away with him, is starting to, well, he's going to be well within shot of getting past White Fountain and taking lead of the race with just around 10 laps left to go. And here comes the Racing Point driver on the Belgian White Fountain. Can Fountain defend from him? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. He takes the inside line. He's going to push Jumper Linen to the outside line, but Jumper Linen gets the move done up into P1. Warrislander too far away to get involved in this battle currently, but Jumper Linen, he's made up with this, well, effectively the contact between Sam and everyone else has really worked in his favour.
I tell you, I know exactly what helped Jumper Linen there to get the move done on White Fountain. That's turned, as it turned 15, where you say you can, if you cut it too much, you can find yourself airborne over it. White Fountain was exactly that. I was riding on board with him, and his car was pretty much sideways going over that turn. The car was airborne. He had to get off the power, and it allowed Jumper Linen to just get even closer. And then as soon as Jumper Linen was that much closer in the DRS, it was easy pickings. White Fountain's slight mistake there has cost him massively, and he'll be hoping now to just stay on the back of that Racing Point and try and get the move done back on him. But yeah, Jumper Linen he's benefited the most, hasn't he, from the last few laps instances, and now usually when he takes the lead, it's very, very often he goes on to take the race win as well. So White Fountain will be doing his best it can to try and keep up with this Racing Point, but at the moment it looks like Jumper Linen is just starting to pull away from him slightly.
Yeah, we'll see what you can do into turn 1. Oh, just on board here with Infinity, just about on opposite lock there into turn 15. And he was getting up nicely close behind Harry there, but he's going to have lost around, well, a couple of tenths there, and it's going to put him under threat from Foxy Red behind. In fact, yeah, Foxy Red nicely in the slipstream of the Renault of Infinity, and Ashley will be looking in his mirrors thinking, oh, I probably could have got Harry, but this time it looks as though he's going to be looking at 6th position from 7th, and we'll see if Foxy does make the move. He pulls the inside, but he doesn't go for it. It looks as though the fact that all 3 of the cars behind Simon all got DRS, that's probably played into Infinity's hands, and he's going to have to think about it all over again, because we've got this nice little 4-car battle brewing between Simon, Harry, Infinity and Foxy Red.
Yeah, and like you say, Simon, he's having a good race so far, isn't he? He's up 6 places so far. In 4th place is Sam, not surprisingly really, on brand new set of medium tyres, does the fastest lap with a 1:42.8. But yeah, Simon having an excellent race so far. He's got a very fast Harry behind him. I'm sure he'll be coming under severe pressure. We've got yellow flag in sector 3. It's Psycho. Psycho is out of the race, and it started off wonderfully for Psycho, and unfortunately the Racing Point driver is now out of the race. Will that give us a safety car, a virtual safety car? I'm not sure whereabouts he has lost it. We might see riding on board with the leaders shortly whereabouts he has lost it, but yeah, that's really unfortunate for him after a promising start.
Yeah, up to 11th at the start of the race. Unfortunately for Psycho, he, I believe, as you said, he found himself in contact with Charlie, which is probably a reason why we see Charlie down in 8th position with over 12 seconds gap between himself and Foxy Red in 7th. And but yeah, it wasn't unfortunately a great return for Psycho, who retires along with Adrelokdok and Giuseppe, of course, who lost on lap 1. We've got this battle now. Who is going to make a move? Someone's going to make a move, surely. Harry now chasing Simon down towards turn 1. Simon defends to the inside. Harry's going to have to go to the outside line. He's off the throttle a little bit. Simon's going to defend. Is he going to go deep? That's going to allow Harry up the inside. Harry's going to have the inside line into turn 2, and he's up into 5th position currently. Let's go side by side, and they're just about. That's how you do it, boys. Look at it. And it's a great exit for Simon, who maintains 4th place. This is great driving from the Swedish driver, and he's going to hold on to the position. Infinity all over the rear end of the Williams after those two were battling. And now Simon, he's made a little break for it, and Foxy, he's going to, cheeky as you like, down the inside of Infinity, whilst Infinity was looking at the back end of the Williams. And after not being able to get it done on the straight, Foxy Red just thinks about, well, you know what, I'll just put it in right now, just when you're not paying attention. Great move there from Foxy Red 2000.
That was this is all about, this league. That superb few corners there. The money was on Harry to take that position, wasn't it? And somehow Simon managed to keep hold of fourth place. Superb defending, superb driving from all four drivers there, not to make any contact or run into the wall. That is exactly what this league is all about. As now Harry is making another move on Simon. Simon not giving it up yet. He clobbers over those curves, and Harry still not giving it up. He tries it now down the inside. Can he get the move done this time? Yes, he can, but the problem is now Harry's just going to give him an almighty tow to the three cars behind him, and surely now Simon, Foxy and Infinity are going to have a real good tow at him.
Here comes Foxy, though. He's going to have an eye on both of them. Here we go. We're going to go 3 wide down the main straight, aren't we? We're going to get it. Here it comes, lining up. We've got 2 wide. Here comes Foxy. He's trying to find a position. Harry not giving him the space. We don't get 3 wide. Foxy Red, he's going to try and go around the outside of the Williams into turn 1. Harry he's giving him the space, but he's not giving him the opportunity of getting the move done. And what race we've got between these 4 drivers, swapping position, lap on lap on lap, and the defending, they're getting their elbows out. It's majority, I say it's been clean driving. We've got Harry once again having a look at the back end of Simon in towards turn 3 here, using the DRS, but he's not able to get past. This is masterful defensive driving from Simon. He's giving him a little bit of a tap into turn 4, just about gets out the throttle, allows Simon to maintain the position. But you can see Harry, he seems to have the pace on Simon at the moment, but he just can't get past. As you say, he's going to try and send it down the inside. This is going to be brave, guys. This is one per lane. This guy, you don't make a move into this position unless you're an absolute crazy driver. But here we go, up through the castle section. They do maintain the status quo, but Harry got the move done into turn 16, but as you say, he just allowed Simon DRS, so the roles were reversed as soon as we got to the main straight, and Harry found himself not only under threat from Simon, but also Foxy Red. So we were just about held from having a 3 wide into turn 1, but yeah, these 4 having a fantastic battle over 4th position.
They really are. It is an absolute pleasure to watch. And now Harry, he's slightly off of Simon. He might be out of DRS zone here, and Foxy Red is going to take advantage of that surely now, because it looks like Harry doesn't have DRS. Here we go, Foxy Red is going to have a piece of the Williams, surely. Easy pickings for the Alfa Romeo driver. He's sending it down the inside, and Harry was once looking at 4th place, he's now looking at 6th place, and that has allowed some breathing room for Simon for at least a lap or 2, as now Foxy Red is still under pressure from Harry. Harry not giving up as he just gives a little tag to the back of the Alfa Romeo, and that's allowed Infinity to come back at these guys. Harry now with the DRS on Foxy, he's going to try it round the outside now, surely not. Harry does, oh no, Harry's hit the wall. Oh, he does get it going again, but unfortunately he just ran out of room, and that's the problem with these street circuits, isn't it? You just don't have the room like your old traditional circuits, and unfortunately the Williams driver just had a face full of concrete barrier, and now he's going to have to find himself trudging around the track to get back in the pit lane for a brand new front wing. But that's a shame how that's ended in the end. But fortunately for Harry, the room was always going to close up on him, and he was never going to have anywhere else to go but the wall.
Yeah, outside line was always a very difficult position. Of course, Foxy had that inside line, and he just didn't allow the opportunity for the Williams to go around the outside, and you saw the brakes lock up on the front left and front right of that Williams car, and unfortunately once that happens, the inevitable is that collision with the concrete wall, and concrete wall and carbon fibre don't often pair up very nicely indeed, so it's going to be a struggle for Harry for the we'll see. Does he well, it depends on how much time he's going to be losing, because he could stay out. He's in 7th position. Infinity now lining up Foxy. Infinity. This would be a fantastic result for him. It would be his best result of the season so far. Up into 5th position goes the Renault driver. He's had a great race so far, and obviously we don't want to have the commentators curse for any of these guys. And Harry does stay out, so he's decided he's going to try and battle it out for the next 5 laps on that broken front wing, and it might cost him some time with Charlie now closing in on these guys. In fact, Charlie was 12 seconds back. Now he's only 5 seconds back, so you can see the battle that these guys had been involved in. You can see the remnants there of that front wing of the Williams as we exited turn 3. And but Warrislander, he's now fallen back somewhat from the likes of Jumperline and White Fountain. In fact, Jumperline well up into the lead of the race now. It's a 2.4 second lead he's got now over White Fountain. Warriors back 4.2 seconds off the rear of Fountain. But Simon and Infinity, definitely those pair have had a fantastic race themselves, up in 4th and 5th position.
Most definitely, and all that carnage in the last few laps has definitely helped Simon out, hasn't it? Infinity now 3 seconds behind Simon. You remember Simon was in that 4-way battle and suddenly 3 seconds up the road. So Foxy, who's going to probably do roles reverse on the Renault driver shortly, he's managed to stay onto the back of the car. Is he going to be able to get 5th place back? He runs a little deep, not too bad, but he runs a little deep. So now, can it be part 10 million or something of how many battles we've had so far for 5th place? Infinity does have a little gap, but Foxy is just reeling him in and reeling him in. As soon as that DRS is open, Foxy surely will take 5th place back. And there you go, Foxy down the inside, easy as you like. That DRS showing how strong it is around this track, and Foxy head back up into 5th place. Infinity will probably want to try and stay onto the back of Foxy Red and do the same again later on.
Yeah, something makes me think that this isn't the end of this battle we're seeing just here. I think we're going to see this going for the final laps of the race. You see Infinity trying to stick with Foxy in the DRS. He's not going to make the move down in towards turn 3. In fact, Foxy locking the front tyre and I believe it was the front and the rear left tyres there. So that's going to cost him some time. It's going to cost him some grip on those tyres. Of course, we've got plenty of life left in them, but it is going to be coming towards that sort of latter part of their life. We've got 14 laps on the tyres for Foxy and Infinity, both stopped on the same lap as Infinity. Slightly cuts the corner there at turn 7. We'll see. We haven't seen any penalties flash up so far this race, which has been good to see. A lack of corner cuts. There's nowhere really to corner cut in Azerbaijan due to the fact that you're met on either side by a pretty unforgiving concrete wall. But yeah, you can see now is the gap between Simon. Now he's been freed somewhat of Foxy Red and Infinity. In fact, Infinity's just going to fall out of DRS here as Scott and Klaas swap position in 11th and 12th. But there's a yellow in Sector 2. What's happened?
Klasko made a mistake at the castle section. I don't know if he clipped the wall or not. I was just flicking through the rest of the field and it opened the door for Scott. Scott was gaining on the Alfa Romeo driver, and I think, yes, he does have front wing damage, so unfortunately for him he's going to have to come into the pits again. Scott was putting the pressure on the Alfa driver, and unfortunately it's paid off, and he will have to come into the pits again. And Scott, what is Scott doing there? He's just clipped the wall there. That's very bizarre. Scott, I don't know if he picked up any wing damage there, but Scott, down the straight towards the start-finish straight, clipped the wall there. I don't think he's got any damage. He's carrying on, so nothing really drastic. But I just wanted to point out as well, briefly for me, FPL Charlie in the last 3 laps has made up nearly 5 seconds on Harry, and now he's got him firmly in his sights. Remember, Harry does have that front wing damage. He's trying desperately to hold on to any points he can. Harry's running deep nearly in every corner as Scott has retired from the race. But yeah, Charlie's now putting the pressure on Harry. That front wing is really taking a toll on him now, because Harry in every corner just does not look comfortable whatsoever. And Charlie, there you go, Charlie does get the move done just before the castle section. Now Charlie up in 7th. Charlie, retrospectively, probably happy. He's made up 7 places so far in this race, and he said to me earlier on that he absolutely detests this track. He just cannot get on with this track. So if he can finish in 7th place, that will be somewhat okay for him, I'd imagine. He gets the move done, and with obviously some issues that we've had further on, it's allowed him to make some position ups, potentially score some points. He's 10 seconds behind the next place, but he's doing all right so far out there.
And here comes Sam after that collision earlier on, back into the points, and he's now behind Harry, and this move is going to happen in a few seconds time, because Harry, of course, missing the front right hand side of that front wing. But you can see Sam, he just doesn't have that straight line speed. He's still side by side, just about even with the DRS, just about gets ahead of the Williams driver. And up into eighth position. Sorry, Charlie up into 7th with that move on his friend Harry early on. But now we've got Sam versus Charlie, and God, we've seen that one before, hasn't it? So these guys will have to got 3 laps left to go. A battle between 7th position between Sam Pepito and FPL Charlie. What will they throw up? And you got Foxy Red 2.3 seconds behind Simon, but he's still got Infinity 0.6 of a second. So that battle is still going on, and looks like it will go on towards the end of this race. We'll stick with Sam for this second part of the lap, and just see if he can get closer to Charlie. Charlie trying to break that toe down towards turn 7, and he's locked up, and that's going to allow Sam Sam thought about it, but there's just this position here from the entry of turn 7 to turn 12. There's nowhere to get a move done without having to potentially go too wide into a corner that is definitely not made for 2 cars. So Sam bails out of it. You saw him lock up the front wheels there, but it looks as though on these... Sam runs... How has he not lost a wheel or a front wing? He just absolutely clouted the inside wall on the entry at turn 14. And that's cost him... Oh, has he?
He's got front left end plate has gone on the Haas. He's lost a huge chunk, so that has cost him astronomical amounts. I was riding further back on Speed Queen, and I seen debris flying up, so I thought I'd check for you. And yes, he has lost the Speed Queen now. He's getting the move done on Harry, so Speed Queen looking at 9th place. So unfortunately for Harry, it's just fallen away for him.
And here comes Speed Queen up into 9th, and in fact up the road as well. Infinity got back past Foxy, so those two swap positions over 5th and 6th. Once again, we're on the penultimate lap of the race, 25 of 26. Speed Queen up into 9th position. Harry unfortunately falling back after that contact with the wall in that battle, that fantastic 4-car battle between Simon Infinity and Foxy Red. That front wing damage has really hurt him, and we've seen just how much front wing can damage you around here. Speed Queen now starting to catch Sam, who, like you say, didn't look like he'd lost any front wing when I was sitting on board with him. How he didn't lose the front left tyre is beyond me, as classed as the fastest lap of the race in 140.6 on new soft tyres. He's down in 13th position. But yeah, Sam, a very, very lucky boy to still be in this race after what would have been a slightly careless mistake from the Spaniard. And so yeah, he is currently holding on to 8th, but Speed Queen starting to reel him back in again after he overtook her a few laps previous. That front wing damage is going to start to hurt him, so the Toro Rosso driver is going to be eyeing up 8th position once again.
Yeah, like we were saying, wasn't it earlier? Get any damage around here and it's going to cost you big time. And Harry, unfortunately, down in 10th place. You'd imagine he could hold on to 10th place with Burmeister 19 seconds behind, but it's also now costing Sam, because he was looking like he was going to be able to steal 7th place from Charlie, and now he's looking at Speed Queen potentially stealing his place. So yeah, it's not good for Sam at all. He'll be just trying to hold on as best as he can. Foxy Red, meantime, just slightly ahead, has not been able to get back that position. 5th place, he's just over half a second behind. He's got the DRS again, but just can't quite reel in Infinity now. Can Infinity on this last lap hold on to 5th place, which would be a superb 5th place for him?
It would be indeed. It's jumper line, and it is leading us round for the final lap as Speed Queen got past Sam. Sam weaving side to side, and in fact he gets back up past her in towards the DRS, or using the second DRS, and so it's going to be a battle between these two over 8th and 9th position. and she's going to stick with him, and this is going to be essentially, when you're this close on the last lap, it's going to be a battle for that DRS right into the speed queen. What a move if she gets this one done. Switches back at the last moment. Sam tried to cover her off and tried to give her a bit of a tap as a, I don't want you to go past there, but up in turn 5 and turn 6 she gets the move done, and she's going to need to try and clear him. But up the road, we'll just see where he is on track. But it has been Jumpalainen who is coming around the final corner now in the Racing Point. He's going to make it a 3rd win of the season here in the IRL F1 League. Congratulations. It didn't look like it was going to be likely, but he does come across the line. It's a fantastic win for Jumpalainen. He finishes 5 seconds up the road. He really pulled away in the final stages from White Fountain. Warrislander finally gets himself a decent result in 3rd position. Zyman equally will be delighted with 4th. Equally, Infinity, congratulations to him. Best result so far in 5th position. Foxy's in 6th. We've now got Charlie's going to come across the line in a frustrating 7th position. You can see the Mercedes driver there, not impressed whatsoever. Speed Queen is in 8th. Will she hold on to it from Sam? She is. So in 8th position for Speed Queen. Sam is in 9th. Harry holds on to 10th position, and Burmeister, Meg Lugby and Klaas will finish outside of the points. The Ferrari driver coming up to the line now, finishing just outside of the points. 11th is one of the worst places you can finish. Even though it's 1 point, you will feel like it would be 15 if you got inside it. But yeah, Burmeister in 11th. Klaas and Meg Lugby swapping positions, what looked like on the line there, so there may have been an extracurricular penalty for Meg, but yeah, that is the end of the race. And Sab, we said that Jumpalainen, I mean, you can never count him out, can you, the Finn? But he definitely didn't look like a race winner when we started off this race, did he?
No, and it's starting to emerge as a bit of a pattern. Whenever he's battling in the middle of the pack, he seems to struggle somewhat. But when he gets some clean air, you see there, look, over 5 seconds he ended up pulling out on White Fountain, and he made it look easy in the end, didn't he? And yes, he had some help tonight with the incidents between Sam and Scott, for example. But he drove superbly all night tonight. But for me, my driver of the day, I'm going to go with Zyman. It's closely between Infinity as well, because Zyman was superb tonight, as well as Infinity. It could be either or, but Zyman absolutely superb tonight, up in 4th place from 10th position, so making up 6th place there, just fractionally outside of the top, the podium places. But congratulations to Warrislander as well. He finally got that podium place. He'll be delighted with finishing 3rd. Yes, started 2nd, so not quite where he first started, but overall he'll be definitely pleased to be picking up good points tonight.
Yep, absolutely. Jumpalainen picks up the race victory ahead of White Fountain and Warrislander, who round out the podium with Zyman, Infinity, Foxy, Charlie, Speed Queen, Sam and Harry, your point scorers this evening. But as you say, it's a debut podium for last season's F2 champion, the Warrislander, after making that move up to F1. And he's made a couple of mistakes so far this season. He should have been up in with plenty more podiums to his name already, but he does pick up that 3rd place driver's trophy here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But it is Jumpalainen that he really consistent driving has kept him out of any sort of issues. White Fountain, after looking very strong in the early stages and starting to put away, as you said, may have made a slight mistake. And it's come back to cost him, and finishing 5 seconds behind Jumpalainen at the end of the race. Jumpalainen really, really impressive this evening. So congratulations to him, and of course to the top 3, and equally to everyone that finished what is always a very, very difficult and our first ever competitive meeting here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix as part of Invictus. And as of course, guys, as I said at the start of the evening, it's not our only visit to Azerbaijan this week. Tomorrow night, the Realistic Performance League with Tim and Malc in the commentary box, and of course on Wednesday night 2 races, IRL F2 and F3. You've got Dan and the Warrislander straight and hot off of his time on the podium here tonight. He'll be in the commentary box on Wednesday, and he'll be joined of course by Energy Dan, and Tim and Malc will be covering F3 as usual. But of course you can catch that all on our YouTube channel, which you're currently watching us on right now. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you are. Tick that subscribe button to be notified every time we go live with a new video. And equally, if you've enjoyed the race tonight, if you enjoyed the commentary and the performance that these guys have put on, make sure you click that like button. And the guys are all joining now, so make sure you've all got your voices to be shared, so everyone can hear you on stream, guys. And Sab, have you got any questions for these guys tonight?
Yeah, I can lead with the questions. I'd firstly like to say congratulations to the top three. It was a great race from you all. I'd like to start with tonight's race winner, John Pline, and congratulations. It's a third win of the season for yourself. It seemed like at first, though, you were struggling in that midfield battle, but instances ahead allowed the door to be open for you to claim the race victory. How was the race for you?
Yeah, it was. Had some rough patches for the start, I guess. Just struggled on the first stint quite a bit, made some mistakes, and burned up the rear tires, and yeah. But luckily it didn't cost me too much time, and got into a rhythm on the hard stint and managed to catch back up and win the race eventually.
Yeah, you drove superbly in the end, over 5 seconds to White Fountain in second place, and that leads me on to White Fountain. Congratulations on the second place. Yes, you probably would have preferred to have got first place, wouldn't we all? But good points overall, and it gets you within that fight for this season. How was the race for you, and was there anything you could have done with John Polino, or was he just a bit too quick for you?
He was very quick, but I was just a bit too cautious to just not end up in the wall, and I know I have problems with tire wear around Azerbaijan, so that was not in my favor, but he was very quick, and I don't think that win was ever going to be for me, because halfway through the race, Sam was in front of me, but he had an accident with Scott, so yeah, he did a great job, and I'm happy with second and some points for Haas and the constructors. So in the end, I'm quite happy with second place. First place would have been better, but well, not everybody can win a race. So
yeah. Well, it's always sometimes better to play it cautious, isn't it? You definitely don't want to be in the wall around here. And that leads on to Warris Lander. Warris, you've had a frustrating first half of the season. You've looked very fast in qualifying and finally got yourself on that podium. How was that race for you, and does it feel good to finally get onto the podium, which, in my opinion, you thoroughly deserve to be up there?
Yeah, thank you. I'm just very happy that I think for the first time this season had a incident-free race. Stayed out of the wall, and well, I think I said before the race, if you can stay out of the wall, you're probably on the podium. So that's what happened. In the end, I lost some time to the other guys, but I was just trying to keep it clean, and I was just gunning for the podium, and I got it. So I'm actually quite happy about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably the best way to approach it is just to be a bit more cautious around here. Like you say, you don't want to take it into the wall, do you? And just to lead it on to you, Gareth. Have you any questions for these guys before we quickly wrap up?
No, not really. I mean, you've covered everything. It was a fantastic race for these guys, and like you said, jump line, and great race from you, mate, to come through and. After a slightly, I'm sure you think with a poor start from you, but yeah, clean racing all the way through, and equally Fountain back on the podium once again. So it's a good haul of points for you in the championship, and it's good to see Warris up on the podium for the first time after what feels like 5 races too late after that issue in Hungary at the start of the season. So yeah, really well done, guys. Fantastic race. I hope you enjoyed it, and back in Bahrain next week, maybe not so many walls on either side of you, so a little bit of a breather for you guys. So yeah, congratulations, guys.
Thanks, mate.
So yeah, that's us done for round 6. Azerbaijan in the books, probably the hardest race on the calendar. So these guys can take a breather and relax a little bit, because the next 2 races coming up are going to be 2 of my favourites on the calendar, Sab. I'm not sure about you, but we've got Bahrain and Italy up for the next 2, which tracks that promote overtaking, tracks that promote close racing. And if these guys do the same sort of racing that we've seen over the first 6 races, and including on a street circuit like we've seen this evening, at tracks that really do promote overtaking, we're going to have an absolutely mega race, aren't we?
Oh, most definitely. I too enjoy Baku. Sorry, we are in Baku, Bahrain. Sorry, and Monza. They are two track favourites of mine. And with these guys, given like you say a little bit more breathing room, you might see some more people pushing the limits of the tracks. But yeah, tonight's race was fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what these guys bring for the second half of the season. John Pranani looks like the man to beat at the moment. It'll be fascinating to see if anybody can get back at him next week.
Yep, it is a third race victory of the season for Jumpalainen. That puts him into a comfortable lead in the championship with San Pipito and Charlie dropping points this evening. So yeah, it's going to be well, Fountain. That second place tonight is probably going to help him out somewhat, but it's a very, very healthy lead for the Finn heading into round 7 in Bahrain next week. But that is us done for this evening, and the first race of 2020 here at Invictus is done and dusted, and we will be back in Sakhir next week. Of course, like as I said, make sure you check out tomorrow night the Realistic Performance League with Malc and Tim in the commentary box. An absolutely fantastic championship battle going on in there, and incredibly close. And then equally, of course, on Wednesday night, IRL F2 and F3 streamed every week, 8 p.m. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel, which of course, as always, you can subscribe to if you're not already. Make sure you like the video if you've enjoyed it. If not, of course, let us know what you'd like to see, and drop into the comments. Let us know if you're enjoying it, if you're not enjoying it. Equally, any other thoughts about the league, always good to hear from you guys, and like to hear what your guys are thinking about the season so far. And yeah, you can of course follow us on the socials, Invictus Racing League on Facebook, Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, and of course you can go to Twitter to at GT2_driving for myself, at Alan Sabatino for Sab, and you will of course will find us next Monday here in the commentary box as always. But for tonight and this week, for the IRL F1 League in Azerbaijan, thank you very much. Congratulations to the top 3. Thanks for your help, Sab. Always good to have you back, and we'll be starting off a new year with we've started off new year with another banger. We're going to have plenty more racing this year, and we will see you next week for round 7. Good night.